Hello there, this is Brian with Brian Reviews Everything and Anything. Today we are here reviewing the Valkyrie Hybrid clone. Now this clone right here is from ehpro, and I ordered this from eciggity.com. Now according to UPS, this came from their Hawaii location. I got it up here in Minnesota within 5 days. And that's just standard shipping. I think it was $7.95 for shipping. And this clone cost $59.95 compared to the original I've seen between $229 and $275. Now it comes in this nifty little box to hold your mod. Some wire, I believe it's 32-ish gauge, 30-32. Some wicking material and a pack of O-rings. And I believe it probably came with a screwdriver too that I tossed somewhere. So now let's have a look at the Valkyrie. Now, it is a single coil or a dual coil with adjustable airflow. The slots, I would say, maybe 2mm equivalent. It's hard to say. They're not as wide, not even close to as airy as the Stellar. So if you're familiar with that, this is a lot less airy in single coil or dual coil. Personally, I'm a single coil person, so it fits me real well. It's got a real small chamber in it, and we'll go after that in a little bit here. And we'll go over that in a little bit here. So next thing is, this one does have the etchings just like the original. So on the front side, I don't know if you'll be able to see it real well, but you got some white, real kind of faded etching of some angel wings. And then also up at the top ring here, you do have the Valkyrie symbol. And evidently ehpro does number their mods, and so we have 2589. So, and I'm not 100% sure about that. Also on the bottom of this mod, there is a Valkyrie symbol too, just like on the real one. Now, I haven't gone sub-ohm on it yet, so I imagine it would work just fine. I'm at 0.9 to 1 ohm with a twisted 30 gauge coil right now. Like I said before, I'm more of a single coil guy. I'm going after the flavor more than the vape, but you still get a pretty decent vape off of it. So we'll take a couple rips off this bad boy, and then we'll go into a more depth review with our pros and our cons. Now the flavor is absolutely fantastic in this. You got a real small juice chamber in there, so that really gives you a nice warm flavorful vapor. I don't know if you're familiar with their Cyclone dripper with AFC, but it's very similar style to the Vicious Ant Cyclone, so you might want to check that out too. Like I said, I'm not a huge cloud chaser type. I mean, I do like a decent cloud, don't get me wrong, and I like to tinker around with it once in a while, but as my everyday, all-day vape, I stick around 1 ohm, and this hits pretty good around 1 ohm, 0.9, 0.8, and I haven't been below there, so you'll have to try that out on your own. Otherwise, the problems with some of the originals was a hot button. I haven't had any problems with the button. I know in the original they had to put a longer firing pin in it because it wasn't making a good contact. We'll go over the button. It is adjustable. You got a reverse thread pin in there that you can just spin with your finger, so that's convenient. If you got a nipple top battery or flat top battery, it accepts both. Okay, now we'll go over a few things. This hybrid, first of all, does not come with the drip tip. And one thing I was disappointed with, some of my favorite drip tips do not fit in here. I don't know if they do in the original, but they do not in this one. This is a drip tip off a Kangaroo Pro tank. That fits, but several other of my tips do not fit. So one thing you need to consider, which is not, a huge deal, but I was hoping some of my other drip tips would fit it. We'll take it apart here. And for when you're on the road, I do run a 2-cent vape safe. This is actually a Camry one that came with the KTS. But I do like to run that when I go. It protects you from short, stuff like that. It'll only let you go to 7 amps. So if you're running 1 ohm, this will work good for you. Now we're going to go over the button here. You can see it's a bottom push button. It's just a locking button, no magnetic switch. Like I said, reverse thread, locks it. Go back clockwise, unlocked. Here is your firing pin. That pin will screw out, I'm guessing, probably 5-6 millimeters. I mean, it screws out pretty far, so you might be able to get an 18500 with a kick on there. I'm not 100% sure, but it comes out pretty dang far. So a lot of adjustability for battery wise, being that it is an 18650 hybrid, no extension tubes or anything like that. I am running, like I said, the Camry vape safe in there. It fits, but it doesn't seal all the way up, and I'll show you that here. It doesn't screw all the way tight. So if you like a nice clean flush look, you're not gonna get that with this. You'll see here, dripping out a little juice. It is a dripper, so if you tip it too much sideways and you got her flooded like I like to flood it, you're gonna have some drippage. But as you can see here, there's a nice gap where the battery screws in. Now this gap's for your locking pin, so if I reverse that, that's how it looks when you're firing. But I still do have a little bit of a groove right there from having a 2-cent vape safe in there. So it's up to you how you like to look. Like I said, I usually use it on the road. I'm clumsy, I drop shit, throw shit, coils, screws come apart. And that's the second real big con I have with this. We'll go ahead and take her apart here. And that's probably the main thing I have. Now, as you can see, got a real small juice well. And plenty of room to put your coils and everything in there. But it is very, very small. Now, as you can see here, with our top cap, you can see how condensed it gets compared to how it looks on the outside. It looks pretty big, but it's a nice tight airflow. And here's how you adjust your airflow. Go to single to dual. So that's a nice option to have too. I like that. The Stellar did not come with a single coil setup, so I ended up having to grind one for myself, which I'll show in a later video of that. So I like the juice well. I like that it accepts multiple batteries. I like the vape, first of all. Very great taste. Hits really smooth for me. And so I like that. First con we have is the drip tip. The second con we have, and this is going to be pretty hard to show in the video, but I do have, as you can see, a different screw right here. It comes with 3 of these large screws, and I had taken this one out. But if you look from the back side, both the negative posts tilt in. And with the big screw heads, when you put them on to do your coil, they are pretty much touching. I mean, just, you can put a hair through there, maybe some dental floss, but there is not much room with the big screws. So I had to find some smaller head screw holes to get in there. So one, that's a big con for me. I wasn't able to move them over at any. They're pretty stiff there. So no problems with them coming loose, but it is a big problem with the supplied screws and with the clone. It could be just mine. I'm not sure if any of you guys else have them out there. Drop me a line. Let me know how your screws are and how your negative posts are tilted. The center post seems to be fine. Doesn't seem to cause any problems. But it does make you nervous when you have your negative and your positive screw almost completely touching. With that said, it's not too hard to change a couple screws, but I'm guessing that with the original, you probably will not have to deal with that with the original, would be my guess. I would hope not anyway. So we'll put this thing back together, and that's the whole cap does come off. This doesn't separate from the bottom cap. It comes off as one piece, so your airflow control will not come off with it. So, like I said, maybe I'll do a dual coil build in here. Let you guys know how it fires off with that. Said I'm more of a single coil guy. It's not too area. Full open is actually pretty good for me. I'm used to maybe the K-Fun IGO W drilled out with a 1/16 bit. So this is pretty close to the IGO W with a 1/16 hole on each side. So not too airy, but not too tight. Nowhere near as tight as, you know, I'd compare it a little bit looser than the Aero tank on full or the Nautilus on full. Oh, and that flavor is just fantastic flavor. Like I said, I'm at 1 ohm, twisted 30 gauge. Got a vape safe in here too, so you know, my connectivity is not the greatest for you guys that like minimal voltage drop off. You know, obviously not going to run a vape safe, and I'm not sure to tell you, but it seems to fire with the same coils and the vape safe a lot better than the KTS Plus, which has a spring and everything else in it. So I would say pretty minimal drop off compared to ones with springs. So there you have it. That's a Valkyrie clone from ehpro and esiggity.com. So go ahead, check it out.